But what are some of the other things that people might not be aware of, in terms of their diet that's kind of shifting their gut to a place that maybe is not optimal?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, what I would say is fairly unknown in the general population, but is gaining a lot more knowledge as of late, are anti-nutrients. And the two big ones that I want to touch on are lectins and oxalates. Lectins are found in plant foods, and they are undigestible proteins that basically, when ingested, wreak havoc in the body. They can actually poke holes in your gut lining, which can lead to leaky gut. They can disrupt your endocrine system by binding to receptors and blocking your hormones. They can actually travel throughout your nervous system. There was a study done in Denmark in the past where they cut the vagus nerve, which is the nerve attached to your brain that turns on your parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system in your gut. And they found that when they cut the vagus nerve, that the amount of lectins found in the brain decreased significantly when ingested. So these lectins just wreak havoc in the body, and they can pretty much go wherever they want, causing inflammation. Then there are oxalates, and oxalates are different from lectins in that they can basically add up and build up in certain pockets and certain tissues in the body. And they are actually the number one cause of kidney stones. So when let's say somebody is eating, well, the highest oxalate level in foods are in turmeric and spinach. Those are the two highest foods. And, a common health trend is to have lots of green smoothies. There was actually a woman that had 3 green smoothies, packed full of spinach, and actually had to go to the hospital and almost died from kidney failure from the amount of oxalates that she had in such a short period of time. And that's the kind of thing that we're talking about. And you can only detox them when you have fully eliminated them from your diet. It's kind of like your body is wanting to get rid of them as much as possible, but if you have a high amount in the diet, they can't. And then all of a sudden you don't have any coming in your diet, and your body's like, oh, great, now we can get rid of them. We can pour them out of here, and the kidneys go crazy. It's finally safe to put them in the bloodstream and get rid of them. And when this happens, oxalates are basically shaped like tiny little shards of glass. And so it can be extremely painful to rid yourself of these oxalates if you have a high buildup of them. And so what we're finding is that so many of these foods that we've been told for what seems like forever, that are so healthy, like spinach, and then these foods that have lectins in them, like gluten. Gluten is a lectin, and that's probably the most well-known lectin. Is that these foods are not actually as healthy as we've made them out to be.
And that was something I got familiar with lectins and oxalates from Dr. Stephen Gundry, reading I believe it was The Plant Paradox.
Absolutely, great book. Yeah.
And it was a great book, and I mean, it opened my eyes to so much as far as like that you wouldn't normally think. Like you mentioned spinach and turmeric, like things that you would ask most people like who are involved in their health and wellness, and most people would consider those to be like superfoods, something that's going to be really beneficial for your body. The other one I remember Dr. Gundry was talking about was like lentils having kind of all the lectins, and it's like that's another just kind of group of foods that a lot of people kind of normally classify as something that would be associated with good health. So it's crazy that it's just like so much of this stuff, it goes a lot deeper than just like avoiding eating Cheetos and ice cream. Like, so I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you have other foods like tomatoes that we would consider to be an extremely important, vital part of the history of, say, Italian food cuisine. But they've actually only been eating tomatoes in like the last 200 years or something. And they have high amounts of lectins in them. And, you mentioned lentils as well. All of these foods that have lectins in them, they have been eaten for some time, but until the last century or so, they were prepared much differently than they are today. All of our innate wisdom around these foods has pretty much gone out the window, in that we used to prepare them in a way to limit the amount of lectins that they would have. So that's sprouting, soaking, fermenting, all of these foods. And we've pretty much turned that away in exchange for convenience and accessibility and speed, because we are living a lifestyle today in the Western world where it's like go, 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 go. We just need to, eat in the car when we're on our way to work, and it's all about just getting the food in so that we can get through our day, instead of just focusing on getting the food that is going to be most nutritious for us, most healing for us. And we are seeing the damage done today with that change.